Hello and welcome back to the Rugby Connection podcast. We've had a bit of time off, but weddings, honeymoons, job, everything in between, internationals has been flowing. But today, joining us on the return is a very special guest. In his playing career, an absolute legend at Castleford, but his coaching career takes the cake. The 2021 World Coach of the Year, Six Nations titles, five of them being Grand Slams. Absolute legend of the game. It's Simon Middleton. Simon, thank you so much for coming on. How are we getting on?
Thanks. What an introduction, and congratulations on your latest achievement yourself as well.
Thank
Married,
you.
yes, that right, yeah. Yeah, no, great to be here. Legend. I haven't been called that. I'm not sure if I'm a legend, but I'll take it. I'll take anything, to be honest, at the moment.
Definitely a legend in our books for sure. Um,
As I would say, definitely a legend as the Englishman here of the two of us on the podcast. I would definitely say legend.
Right, I'll take that. I'll take it categorically.
first question, we ask all our guests this. It's kind of a two-parter for you, actually. What got you into playing rugby, and then what got you into coaching rugby as well?
Oh, so playing wise, basically, I just went down and watched my brother play at the local club. I played at school, uh, but I was crap. So I was the little skinny gingered kid who went on the wing because they didn't have enough players, and that's where all the other players wanted me to be. So I didn't particularly enjoy playing at school for those reasons, more of football. But then when I went down to my local club to watch my brother play one day, and senior rugby. Oh, it was close. It was under 18s that I first got into, but seeing the guys play and then getting the bar afterwards and what the atmosphere was like, what the camaraderie was like, everything that everybody ever says about rugby union, that's the thing that grabbed me. Uh, and then and literally I just started going down, and I went from being like shit at playing to sudden and really slow to suddenly be like lightning quick. I don't know where that came from, and not so shit. So I was never a great player or anything like that, but I was a great trainer. It was one of them. I'll just be the best trainer I can be, and we'll see where that takes me. And when if you've got some pace, that tends to take you out. But I just loved it. I absolutely fell in love with the game. Uh, and yeah, that's how I got into playing, and then my playing career just rolled out from there, which was a lot of right time, right place. Never intended to be a coach. I finished up my playing career at Leeds Tykes, as they were at the time. I think we'd gone to Leeds Carnegie by that point. And Phil Davis was my head coach at that point. And when I finished playing, and you know when your time's up as well, when to finish playing, I've got a funny story about that if you want to hear that later. uh, and I had a full-time job all the way through my playing career with Cass, all the way through my playing career at Leeds, and a significant part of my coaching career. I worked as a designer at a glass manufacturer, a local glass manufacturer. So I was busy, so I never really had any desperation or intention to be a coach. But I loved being around the environment. And when I finished playing, Phil was like, "Listen, mate, I'm not going to give you another contract, but do you want to stick around and do some coaching?" Uh, and because I'd come out of rugby league, which was super. I'd been playing Super League, so I knew what good coaching looked like. I knew what a good environment looked like at that time. I knew what good players looked like. That's for absolute sure. Uh, and Leeds was still sort of national three at the time, national two, national three. So I think he still saw some value in what I could add in terms of maybe skills or the environment or whatever. And I said, yeah, I'll stick around. And I just started doing some skills. And then again, very much like my playing career, the coaching just sort of rolled out from there with opportunities that came along. And as I say, I just never really had a life plan, never really had a rugby or coaching plan, but just sort of took the chances when they came if there were things that inspired me. And staying in the game was something that certainly interested me. And then once you get into coaching, it's pretty inspirational if you get yourself in the right places. So yeah, that was it in a nutshell, really.
He's heavily downplayed his career, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's
Very, very
that
humble
that
Joe over here.
that's very yeah. That's very very humble, I would say. But I can understand what you mean in terms of lots of great opportunities, even if you well say that you were bad when you were younger. I'm sure that's rubbish.
No, I
Did you see?
was.
Did you
I
did you
was.
see his
I was
Castleford
such a bad
stats?
player. Any of my mates will tell you.
I mean, I've read your Castleford stats. You made over 150 appearances and scored over 300 points.
Yeah.
That's not shit in my
Oh
eyes.
no, listen, no, I'm talking
Oh, you're
pre-cast.
talking way back when. Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
Oh, okay.
when I was at school, think that once I got playing at Nottingley, that was my club. Nottingham Rugby Union were my club, and we were only like level 7, level 8. It was only really junior social rugby.
Hmm.
But then like everything changed so quickly with my ability to play, but it was more my desire to play, my attitude, and I say I don't know what happened, but I developed some real serious pace. Uh, and then you can score tries for fun if you've got pace at that level, and and it's like anything, isn't it? Everybody loves to have the belly stroke, don't they? And when people are telling you how great you are because you're scoring 4 tries a game, your confidence builds. We're all confidence players, no matter what we do. Your confidence builds. You score more tries, and like I very quickly I went from being, as I say, a real just a very below average playing kid to uh, captain in the first team, and not only when I was about 19 years old. So in the space of 2 or 3 years, it was like there was a real transition for me, and I just loved it. I loved everything about it, and that's where the playing bit came. And as I say, when I went to Cass, I was like. I literally went from watching them on grandstand one Saturday to being in the changing room a week later with these absolute legends of players, and uh, we had a great coach with Daryl Vanderveld. God rest him, passed away last year. And he was just brilliant at teaching you about rugby, but teaching about life as well. And I had good people around me. Mike Ford signed the same year as I signed, and became one of my best friends. And he was like a brilliant trainer. So I had a real, we had a uh, real close allies with each other in terms of the standards we wanted to set in training. And obviously, coaches love players who train hard and train well and are diligent. So, yeah, it becomes a bit self-perpetuating. And as I say, I wasn't, I wasn't a good, I wasn't a great player. Definitely wasn't a great player. Not in league, but I was a very competent player. I was a great trainer. I was a very competent player. I could score tries, uh, and and when I look back and I look at that side that I played in and how many games I played, like I say, 150 on and quite a few off the bench as well. And I am very proud. It makes me very proud to think that I could even compete with some of the players who are at that club, let alone become, a permanent fixture, which I was for a few years. So, yeah, it takes all sorts, doesn't it, to make a success of any sporting career. You get geniuses and you get people who just have to work really hard, and players come in different shapes and forms, and I was definitely the latter.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair play.
Yeah. I just have to ask, in terms of enjoyment, like which game did you? Because I know we like to think of Union and League. Well, a lot of us do as very separate games, but ultimately they both originated from the same sport. It's just they took slightly different things.
Yeah.
For you, Simon, what game that when you're on the pitch you actually had, if you could say, more enjoyment to play? Which did you prefer? Is what I'm kind of trying to say. Did you prefer playing League or did you prefer playing Union?
I wouldn't say preferred. I enjoyed playing Union more because I don't know. It was just it was in my soul. Was like I'd never played rugby league. I'd never played a game of rugby league in my life before I went to Cass. I'd only ever played rugby union. Uh, and so rugby union, it really becomes part of your soul, doesn't it, if you play it? And uh, league got, I feel like that about league in many ways, but not, it wasn't as deep rooted as it was with union. But the sense of satisfaction you get from being able to play league at that level, because it wasn't just a different game, it was a chasm in terms of difference of quality and certainly physicality. Uh, league is well, union is now, but in them days when I played, league was absolutely brutal compared to union physically.
Mm.
Uh, so just surviving a game will give you a great sense of satisfaction. But both offered very different things, and both give me, a lot of satisfaction looking back on. But for pure enjoyment, oh man, I just lived for Saturday afternoons playing union. Like as soon as the whistle went at the end of the game, all I could think about was playing again next week. And on the odd occasion you got a midweek game, it was like that was gold dust. Oh, 2 games in a week.
That's
I love
amazing.
that.
That is amazing to hear because that's. I mean, we all love the game. We all. I mean, I don't know much about league myself. I've watched like a couple of. I've watched games. I've watched like NRF stuff. I've seen Super League things. Like sometimes we even have. I mean, I'm live down in like Buckinghamshire, Oxfordshire. So there's not much league down here. And even sometimes when we've got it on Sky Sports at the pub where I work, so I just find myself just stood behind the bar when there's no one to serve. Like, oh, this is a fun game. Jesus Christ! So I can't imagine that at the time how brutal it must have been, where there's almost less rules at the time.
Oh, it was yeah, it was incredibly physical game, and the degree of tolerance in terms of what constituted a dangerous tackle, but it was like yeah, that was what made it what it was, and you know, I think it was Andy Farrell was saying the other day, game's gone soft a little bit. It's just changed. Right? The dynamic of the game's changed. But I played against Danny when he made his debut for Wigan. And yeah, and like, he was like a 17-year-old. And they were like, I remember the conversation beforehand. Like, oh yeah, this kid, Farrell's making his debut. It was something along these lines. Like, and so they put one of our lads on him. Oh yeah, make sure you sort him out. Anyway, he scored an hat trick, did Faz, and got man of the match. And like 17-year-old kid, anything like it. But well, I mean, that Wigan side at the time, you got Jason Robinson, you got Vainga Twiggy-Mal on one wing, they're just Sean Edwards. It was just like, brilliant, But I've lost touch with league a lot because when you certainly when you become coach, you become a coach, you tend to focus everything on what you're doing, or I certainly did, and so I lost touch with league a little bit, and it looks there doesn't seem to be the quality and certainly the characters now that they were then. There were so many. I mean, they just named a few there, and that Wigan
Mm.
side alone had just a squad full of unbelievable players. But at Castleford, we had a good side. We had some fantastic players. But it was in that decade when Wigan were almost untouchable.
Does it? Another sort of league style question. It might be a bit deeper, but do you think that obviously there's always been this rivalry with Australia and England? Like we've got the Ashes that's just happened. Do you think that because of how strong the NRL is, that creates a knock-on effect for the Super League? Whereas if you get like a neutral fan, say, I don't know, if you've got a South African who wants to watch some league, do you think because of the strength of the NRL, it impacts the Super League? And then also, as well as that, do you think because the NRL is so strong, a lot of the most talented English rugby league players, like your Herbie Farnworths or your Dom Youngs, going over to the NRL, do you think that has affected it slightly as well? Like
Yeah,
what you say about quality.
yeah, I think the game's changed though. The game's changed. Like it was always a little bit of a game of numbers is rugby league. Now it's a massive game of numbers and percentages. So you know it's the physical development of players and the physical profile of the game is very much about territory, kick, chase, build pressure, go from there. Whereas, you know, certainly when I played, we had players who, you know, there were so many quality players who could unpick defenses. Uh, just had so much in their locker, and I just think it's a little bit, it's still a great games league, but it's a little bit one-dimensional. It's a little bit here, kick, chase, build, or high ball, contest to high ball. So you go from there. Who finishes the sets best generally comes out on top. Da, 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 da. So I think, and it used to make me laugh a little bit because everybody used to stereotype the NRL and said that's what the NRL was always about. Uh, and I think maybe back in the 90s you could hold English Rugby League up against the Aussie game. You could say that. Uh, but then you watch how the Aussie games developed. And I think it's left the English game behind in terms of skill and physicality. I think that speed, but they seem to have a great abundance of real high quality players who can do pretty special things. Whereas I'm not so sure. But as I say, I'm off the mark a little bit because my knowledge of rugby league is not that great. I still enjoy watching it hugely, but I I know I enjoy watching the NRL just as much, if not more, than Super League, because I just think it's a more faster game, it's a more physical game, and it's just more attack based, which is what
Yeah.
they always sort of try to stereotype the NRL as not being that. It was all about defense, but I don't think that's the case.
Yeah,
I mean, I agree. I watch NRL. I don't watch Super League like at all.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. If there were an NRL game or there were a Super League game on, I'd watch NRL.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm the exact same as you. Kind of sticking with league slightly before we move on. There's a common trend now in rugby union where a lot of the more successful coaches come from a
Mm.
rugby league playing background, like yourself. Lee Bradford, this with Scotland as a defence coach, and
Yeah.
obviously Andy Farrell. What's why is it that league players just turn into absolute like juggernauts of the union game?
Good question. I think early doors. So with you, Mike Ford, your Sean Edwards. I know certainly I got involved around that time. And then you had strength and conditioning coaches like Dave Ellis and Phil Larder. Uh, just because rugby league was so far in advance of rugby union before rugby union went into rugby league, went into professionalism. Obviously, when it did, it went in with a lot more money to hand than rugby league had. So so you got this influx of players, your Jason Robinsons, your Robbie and Henry Paul, Faz, Gary Connolly, players like that who went over to play. It was very similar with the staffing. Your coaches, your strength and conditioners, great opportunities, and probably a great amount of intrigue from uh, players, ex-rugby league players who wanted to become coaches and saw good opportunities and saw really interesting opportunities. And just the expertise was so. I mean, like when rugby union went full-time professional, no one gave any credibility to defence. There was no real thought about what does a defensive system look like. So as soon as then you get your players introduced in defensive systems, you Phil Larders pioneering defence with England, and then obviously, certainly off the back of the World Cup win and just everything around that time, rugby league was able to add some massive value to rugby to rugby union, and I think that's still stayed true. I think there's a certain expertise, there's a certain desire and depth to have knowledge and be able to deliver knowledge and impart knowledge really with real clarity about rugby league because it's a very like most people who play rugby league are very straightforward people. You know, they're straight thought. Most of them are from the north. I mean, everybody we're talking about here is from the north, and generally, you talk about people from the north. They're pretty straightforward thinking. They probably played rugby league, which is, you know, you can call it a simple game. You call it what you want. You know, it's a game of high skill, uh,
Mm.
and it's a game of high
Mm.
execution, and it has people who are ingrained in it with great depth of knowledge and passion about the game. Uh, they certainly didn't play for the money because there wasn't that much money in it. So there's just I think there's a little bit more depth, or there certainly was depth of knowledge, desire, attitude, application, uh, and a great ability to deliver messages with clarity from rugby league coaches. And yeah, you know, you see them coming through now. You know, and it's yeah, it's still great to see that involvement.
Yeah, absolutely. I just when you see them like the numbers rack up, and I'm just like, there's something special about playing rugby league that makes you a phenomenal rugby union coach. I mean, just look at you and Andy Farrell in particular. There's like what, eight, nine, Six Nations. I know you have the majority, Simon. But like nine Six Nations, eight, seven or eight Grand Slams, a British and Irish Lions. Yeah,
That's mental. And even if you take, like, say, Sean Edwards' record with
yeah,
Wales,
exactly.
with
Yeah,
France. I mean,
Yeah.
even when you think of like a Kevin Sinfield, went into Leicester with Steve Borthwick, was defence coach, won Leicester's first Premiership title in, I don't know, 12, 10, like over a decade, I think it was. And then to be in the England system and with multiple roles as well.
Mhm.
And you look at some of the like some of the other names you even think of, like even if they're like more Australian, like you think of league players like league players who even come over to Union. Like you talk about your Sonny Bills and your, well, Joseph Suoliti recently, or Lottie Takiri or Wendell Saylor. Like there's just something about rugby league, and I don't know what it is, but I always have such an admiration of it because the most northern that I've ever lived is Lincoln, and that still Lincoln is still very much Union. Like it's still very much Union.
Yeah.
Maybe above Lincoln, you're starting to get more rugby league, but I just always have seen, like, there's just the skill set that you can see on some of the athletes that have played league who then
Mm.
play Union. You just think, how have you translated the two so seamlessly to then get guys who are coaches or
Mm.
players in league coaching Union, might maybe not have even played a game of rugby union, but have come in and been like, yeah, this is how we do it. Go
Yeah.
do it. Like,
We,
defense coach, get up, smash him.
yeah.
Cool,
Well,
I'll go do that.
like I mentioned, like Mike Ford, you know, Mike was head coach of Bath. He was defence coach with England. He was defence coach with Ireland through a lot of their successful periods, stuff like that. You know, and then you know you look at, you know, some of the other players who could have crossed. You know, Graham Steadman, probably not as much well known, but Graham was defence coach. He was on that Castleford side. He became defence coach with Scotland. Like I say, Radford. It was on 10 years ago. I was coaching Lee Radford when
There you go.
I was what we call it. I was in between leaving Leeds to get the England job. I became director of rugby at a college at Hull, and Radiswood Rock. And part of my remit was to coach the national feeder side as well. Or the college was the feeder side for Hull, basically, at Hull Rugby Union. And Radders would rock up on a Saturday and have a game, and occasionally he'd train. You know, great guy. And then all of a sudden he's head coach of Hull FC, and then, you know, he moves on from there and whatnot. And yeah, there's been a massive input on there from rugby league into union, and I hope it continues. You know, but uh, yeah, you know.
I
Definitely.
do like it. I think it's great to see. I'd be interested to see if because I've seen, like, obviously I've mentioned Joseph Suoliti, and obviously England have the very famous one of 10 years ago of Sam Burgess,
Mm,
which obviously I think he could have been a great Union player if he had had a bit more time or whatever happened. I mean, that World Cup exit certainly didn't help, but I'd be interested to see if any more of the England leaguey boys thought, let's give Union a go, let's give it a try. So I'd be interested to see if there would be anyone who, because I've heard a few names, but obviously again I know a lot more league names of old because they're infamous. I don't know too many of them now. So
Yeah, yeah.
if you could think of any that you know, Simon, that you think could make the crossover, are there
Well,
any names at all that you know?
well, I'll be honest. I don't really know that many in rugby league these days. I know a few more after the last 3 weeks watching some of the Aussie tests and that lot. Uh, but I, I don't know. I think you hit the nail on the head a little bit earlier in so much that their preference is now to go to the NRL. So the NRL pick up the best of the best from Super League. Uh, and it sounds like that's where the money is, but also the lifestyle and playing in Oz, and I think if you're a rugby league player, before you contemplate going into rugby union, you want to crack the Aussie market. You want to see if you can make it over there, and I think that seems to be the general trend now that players get drawn over to Australia. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure the your outside backs are always going to be in with a shot at rugby union from rugby, and particularly now because most rugby union international sides have got massive development in their kicking game, high ball catch, high ball finishing, effectively finishing sets. Uh, so players who can get off the ground and are good in the air with a ball. There's going to be a market for them, and yeah, but it's interesting, isn't it? Because there's certainly not as many going that way now, and I think like it's probably because the general trend is that they go to the NRL rather than they go to rugby union.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I don't think
So,
I'd mind being a professional athlete, like living in the Gold Coast or
oh yeah, must be
Sydney.
terrible. Yeah,
Oh, it must be
Tough,
awful earning all of that money and all of that sun. Oh, just awful life.
terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah. Um, so as of right now, I believe you're a technical advisor, aren't you, with World Rugby? Is that correct?
I work as one of their high performance consultants.
Oh, high
So,
performance. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. So it's a technical advice role, stuff like that, but or whatever's required when you go in. I've spent last sort of 2 or 3 years working with emerging nations, but predominantly with Japan women's team, which has been brilliant.
Mm,
But yeah, Japan, Hong Kong, Kazakhstan, and I spent quite a bit of time in Asia, which has been really interesting. Uh,
no.
I
yeah.
didn't realize Kazakhstan played rugby. Wow.
Yeah, they do. They're struggling. Listen, at the moment, uh, they're very much an emerging nation, and they're very much up and down. So
Oh, that's fair enough.
yeah.
I was just wondering, like, what would get you back, like, into coaching? Because I don't know if I could speak on Harry's behalf, but I mean, my beloved Edinburgh is in desperate need for a head coach, and I know that Scotland women are needing a head coach, and I wouldn't say no to having Simon Middleton at the wheel.
I know that Harlequins are looking for a head coach because I don't know if the guy who's currently or even a DOR. I mean,
I have literally been discussing all these things this evening with various applicants who I know in for the
Mm.
various jobs. So I'm just getting a feel for who's doing what. I'm trying to support people who are applying for because that's one of the other things. I'm really enjoying. I've got a network of coaches that I've got. That I've worked with and it sort of what, for want of a better phrase, probably do more mentoring with them these days and whatnot. Uh,
Mm.
but but yeah, we talk through applications for jobs and things like that, just to try and support them to give their put their best foot forward. And yeah, we've literally just been discussing this exact thing. Because there's a knock-on effect in it, Andy. I don't, am I allowed to say? I don't know if it's been released or not. Like Andy Rees Jones is going from Queens to Scotland, and that vacates the
oh,
That's
Oh,
out, isn't it?
I
Isn't
don't
it?
know. I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
edit that
Probably.
bit if it's not.
It's fine. We're all good. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's what I heard on the grapevine.
Okay.
You know, and
Allegedly.
Allegedly, it's a keyword there.
I'm sure that got out in the press. But anyway,
Mm.
don't quote me on that, just in case it. I'll do some homework, and if it is, then you can quote me on it. But yeah,
Um,
then the Queen's position becomes available. Da, 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 da. That's a long story long. Anyway, what would get me back into coaching? 200 grand.
there we go. Yes. Loads of cash.
Oh, someone's got to be able to pay that for you. So,
Loads of
surely,
money.
coach of your caliber, someone's got to go. Yeah, that's fine.
I
Flipping
know.
it. If some of the
Uh,
players can earn about 500 grand a year, I'm sure a coach of your stature and caliber would definitely be able to say, can I have
uh,
this?
uh,
Like, yeah, Simon, we'll add like another like 300 on that if you want. Yeah, fine. Yeah, fine.
I mean,
hey,
I mean,
we've all got our
you could,
price.
we have, but you could up that price. I mean, Red Bull is now in union. You could ask for more.
Oh, I'm sure Gregor needs help.
You will.
Oh, Jesus.
It seems like all the national coaches are pitching in and helping out. Like Gregor's
Yeah.
gone to Newcastle. John Mitchell's just gone to Gloucester, hasn't he? He's doing some work with.
Yeah, I've just seen that. I was
Yeah,
very surprised.
yeah. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? But no, I mean, in all seriousness, what will get me back into coaching? I think when I finished with England, I was very much like I was a bit coached out. I was very coached out, to be absolutely honest, and I've loved the role that I've picked up with World Rugby. You know, it's, but I'm very much a person who I will. I'm not money orientated. If something doesn't inspire me, and I won't pick it up and go with it. If it does, and I can add value, I know this might all sound a bit corny, but it's true. And I can add value. I'll, I'll get in there. I'll have a go, and if I can support, brilliant. Yeah. But if it doesn't engage me, I probably won't engage with it. And if I'm crap at it, I probably won't stick around doing it because it suggests to me that I'm not that engaged with it. Uh, Although I absolutely love fishing, and I'm not very good at that. I've been today. I've been today. It's been a bad day, another bad day today. So,
Oh dear.
but I'll be there again next week.
There
So,
we go. Keep going.
That sounds like the best. I think that sounds like the best way to do for any job, really. Like I know, obviously, everyone's got to earn a living, but I mean, I myself, I'm an actor on the side of like loving rugby, working in a pub. So I'm very much similar to you in that I there are certain things that I've been put forward for auditions that sometimes you look at it and think, is that do I really want to do that? No, but I love performing. So even if it's not the lead role in a West End musical, like it's still like it it's something that you know what, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna give it my all. So I think that
yeah,
from a completely different walk of life, I think that is the best way to approach any job or any role. And if you love what you do, you should do it, like regardless of whether you get your 200 grand or not.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing was like, and I mean, that's cool, actor. I mean, a lot of people have called me a bit of an actor at times with the way I coach, but that's fantastic. Is that? But I'm like, yeah, I like when I finished with him. Like I say, a bit coached out, but I suppose I don't know. Maybe it's you be away for a while and then it comes back to you and you start thinking again. Oh yeah, maybe I would want to get back involved with. I never say never. I think that's something I'd certainly learned along the way. Never say never. If the right opportunity came, push the right buttons, then you look at it, won't you? Uh, but as things stand at the moment. Uh, yeah, I've been enjoying what I've been doing. I'm having a bit of downtime now. That's another phrase for saying I've got no work lined up whatsoever. So I'm having a bit of downtime at the moment, and hopefully, once World Rugby have done their World Cup review and they pull together what the next part of their contribution to rugby looks like. I might have another task or whatever, and we'll see how we go from there. But uh, yeah, I've never had a life plan. Everybody says you should plan on, but like, no, don't. I'd definitely argue the other way. I'm a little bit like, why worry about having a life plan? Just roll with it and see what
Uh,
happens.
Sounds very laissez-faire. I like that.
You know what? I'm just gonna throw it out there and see if it sticks, it sticks.
Oh,
If
here
it
we
not,
go.
Um,
we've got the first ever British and Irish Lions women's team in
mm.
2027. What if we had World Cup winning coach John Mitchell with technical advisor Simon Middleton?
Give them the trophy
Yes.
already. They ain't got a
There we go.
chance.
Yeah, that's the
they
wrapped
ain't,
up.
they ain't got a chance.
Could you imagine that combination? Like,
Oh
imagine
my
John Mitchell
days.
taking advice from me. I'm not sure about that. He'd be like, hang on a minute, mate. Don't I know you?
Oh,
It's really funny. First time I'd ever met him, or I interviewed him on BBC at the end of a Six Nations game. First time
that
I'd ever met
that
him.
was the first time. There
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
like a
yeah,
crossover between
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it was like that.
That's br-
Like, this is going to be slightly awkward, but it won't. He's because he comes across as a great guy, you know. And he's a rugby bloke, isn't he? And he's a brilliant coach, and he got the job done. And I'm so pleased for him. I'm so pleased for everybody associated with it, you know. But yeah, it's really interesting some of the conversations that we've had pitch side.
I mean, so many of the women must have been. They would have been like yours that you would have coached for so long. I mean, I can't think of many names that weren't
Almost like
around
having
when you would have been coaching. I
No, in that final team, I went through it the other day with somebody, and I think just about everybody who played uh, certainly played under me, maybe within the last Six Nations, if not the 2022 World Cup. Uh, yeah, I mean, he brought a few more players to the party, didn't he? But he was it was a pretty young squad. Was that? You know, uh, that 2022 squad. You know, there were a couple of
yeah.
retirees
that
after.
means that means that was 3 years ago that we had Emily Scarrett and Ellie Caldon on this show, which is weird. I thought it was a lot, not as long as that, but there you go. So that actually means that if you go back, if people were watching this, if you go and watch the Ellie Caldon interview, she's in the hotel room in New Zealand under Simon's management. There you go. Small world.
I actually also I have a slight connection to one of the Red Roses as well.
Go on.
I when I was 11 or 12, I want to say when I was playing for Chinner under 11s or under 12s, I actually played against Maud.
Really?
So at the time, because obviously under 11s you can play basically any position. I was a hooker. So I was having to scrum against Maud. And even at 11 or 12,
Yeah.
best player on the pitch by
Yeah.
far, country mile. Also, she was nasty. I know she's lovely. Like every time you see her on an interview, she seems the loveliest woman ever. On the pitch, she was nasty. Like handoffs, like in the scrum. I can fit. She shouldn't be bothering with me. I'm the hooker. She should be focusing on the loose head. And she's like, I can feel her and I can feel the scrum cap on me. I'm like, what am I doing? This is horrible. And a lot of the lads just didn't know what to do with it. It's like, do we hit her? And like, she's bigger than all of us. We're gonna have to hit her. And I think even at one point, 11-year-old me said to whoever was playing, I think because I don't think we had back row at the time with under 11s, but I just said someone just fucking hit her at one point because she's ripping us apart. So
Yeah, good player.
it's
Good player,
yeah,
Maud.
she's
Yeah.
honestly she's brilliant, and I know that she's come down to Chinner a few times to do some stuff with the growing, like, because that was the thing when I like what you have done for, I would say, women's rugby in the game is incredible, because even when I was playing because I'm 25 now, I haven't played rugby since I was about 16, but even back when I was like 11, 12, 13, we would come across maybe like one or two girls a season. And now my dad's coached my brother at Chinner. My brother's he's like 16. He's at one of the colleges in Oxford. He's trying to be a rugby player as well. And like now I go down to Chinna and I'm like, fucking hell, like there's ladies everywhere playing, and it's amazing to see because 10, 12, 13 years ago, like I maybe was lucky, you may be lucky enough to see one girl following her dream playing rugby, and now it's everywhere. So I
It's
that's
massive, isn't
one
it?
thing
Yeah.
that is brilliant to see, and I think I hope you think, I hope you how do I phrase it? I hope you know how much of an amazing impact that I think you and the girls have had on the game for everyone. Because I find
No.
England women a joy to watch, and I have done for years.
Yeah.
I think they're brilliant, and I think it is
I
brilliant.
I love watching the Red Roses all game, apart from that one game where it's very heavy scoreline every year. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Especially if Simon takes the SRU gig.
Well, if they give me a call, I'll go up and have a look. I'm always good to, to to have a chat with anybody about rugby. So
There we go.
SRU pay 200 grand.
Hey, 200 grand. Do it.
they
Do
can
it.
afford it. Yeah, but no, it's no. I appreciate that, Harry. That's yeah, growth of game's been unbelievable. And the World Cup was incredible, wasn't it? I mean,
Oh, it's brilliant to
that
watch.
final,
Brilliant to watch.
so good that final, the crowd, everything. And it's a really different crowd. Isn't it? The Women's Rugby Union International, the crowd, the noise, the atmosphere, it's so different to a men's game. Yeah, the energy in the stadium's amazing. And yeah, I've got a daughter who played when she was sort of 15, played from being 15 to 18, and and so it's not just because I coached the game, it's so close to me, the women's game. It's because my daughter played as well, and you want to create something that your own kids can be part of, and yeah, it was a great, just short of a decade, and it was great, and we had a lot of fun, and yeah, made a lot of good friends and memories along the way.
Did you ever get bored of winning?
No,
Genuine question. Like we said it at the start. Five
no.
Grand Slams. You went on this unprecedented run. I think John might have beat your record now, though. But still,
Yeah,
the point
yes,
still
but they're not
stands.
all his. First five were mine, and then Deeks had about seven of them, so he can't have that record.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's fair.
No, no. The answer to that, no.
Never.
Absolutely, no. And it's a question that we get asked so many times, and it usually revolves around how do you keep the team motivated when you're winning so easy, or you're going into a game and you know you're going to win it. And we just went after performance every time. Can we be better? How close to the game plan can we execute? Just there's always something, uh, and yeah, the and it was nice to have games where you weren't living on your nerves. You don't need too many of them in your life. When you look like this, I'm only actually 27, so oh, having games where you can have a slightly different performance agenda, because it allows you to look at different players and bring players. It's brilliant when you have the luxury of being able to bring young players on when they've got really good support around them from great players, and then it becomes self-perpetuating because those players grow quickly into better players because they've got good players around them, and that's one of the massive strengths of the England program at the moment, and it's well, it's just going to get stronger and stronger, isn't it? Which is slightly worrying for the game in some ways.
I get what you mean. It's
Yeah.
it's great for the what's it? Like, it's great for the country, but it's bad for the games. Or one of those ones.
Yeah, it's such a difficult conundrum, isn't it? Because you can't blame England for what they're doing.
Mhm.
Uh, they are trying to be the best they can be, and I'm not disputing that other nations are trying that as well. And so much of it comes down to funding. But when you look at it and you go, how long how long will big crowds tolerate foregone conclusions as they see it. Uh, I think that's still a long time because, like I say, because of the nature of the people who go and watch the women's games, young people, young girls, young boys, usually with their mums and dads, not massively rugby purists, just want an experience, want to see their heroes and things like that. And they can be, English, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, whatever. There's still a great attachment from the crowd to the players. So I think there's still plenty of tolerance in terms of seeing a side that is so dominant. Uh, but they've got to use that time they've got the other nations. They've got to use it wisely and they've got to use it quickly to close that gap as much as they can. And I know they are doing, but it's a lot easier said than done. But things come full circle at some point, don't they? Some of the great teams that have, I've talked about it earlier, Wigan.
Mm.
Nobody ever thought Wigan would ever be sort of reeled in from where they were, but they did. And I think things happened. The Great Leicester side of the sort of 2000s and whatnot, and Manchester United. So things do go full circle in the end, but it just needs to probably happen within the next sort of 5 to 7, 8 years, I reckon.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. I would almost think that, I mean, if I slightly use a men's game analogy, obviously it was always that the All Blacks, they were the pinnacle of everything. They were the best innovators, the best athletes, the best trainers. Like they did everything the best. And it was almost like we want to get to that level. So I know maybe I'm speaking more from like potentially a playing side or a coaching side, but if all of these countries can see that, look at what that England women's team is doing,
Mm.
look at everything about it, surely that must be an encouragement to think we want some of that, we could do that, let's put everything into this. Like, because I
Yeah.
mean, what one of my favorite teams to watch in the tournament was Canada. Like, I think I saw, I don't know if I'm going to remember this stat exactly. I think their slowest ruck speed might have been 2.9 seconds,
Yeah, they were
and
fine.
like the fastest ruck speed in the men's game is Scotland at like 3.4.
Mm.
So to think that the Canadian women were, their slowest was 2.9, and they were just like I think one of my favorite games to watch in the World Cup was that Canada New Zealand final.
It was
Not because
probably the game.
not
Yeah.
not because New Zealand lost,
Mm.
Mm.
but because of how
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
Canada were. And I just looked at that and thought, what on earth? So and they're amateur.
Yeah.
And that the story of how they got to the final is incredible. But I would just hope that, okay, you've seen that we can almost do it. Let's put everything for it.
Mm.
Let's do it. And I would hope that people would have enough sense and nous to go, you know what, yeah, that'll be a fun thing to do. Let's do
It's
it. Let's
yeah. I mean, look, it seems an easy equation, doesn't it? But ultimately, it's governed by cash. It's governed by
yeah.
finances, and the RFU have listen, their financial troubles previously have been well documented, but they've always been a massively financially stable uh, corporation as such, or governing body. And what they do is they back the women's game massively to the
It
eye.
looks like it.
Oh, they do. They did it when I was, from sort of, well, let's think from sort of 2015, 16 on, they really got behind the women's team with contracts uh and now it's and you can and like you say, you can see what it can do, you can see what it can grow to. Uh but yeah, it's interesting who can catch him, and who's in a position to catch him. I think Canada have got that uniqueness about them. They need, they need more funding. That's for absolute sure. And then you look at the other giants of the game. France are probably the best positioned to actually sort of make a real tilt, have a real tilt at England because they've got the domestic competition, they've got a financial model, they've got some fantastic players, uh, and a lot will revolve around who they put in their coaching setup because obviously the coaches are elite have left, so they're recruiting, and ultimately, that'll be such a massive defining factor because, I mean, one of the biggest things about Canada is Kevin Rouet, their head coach. Kevin's an absolute genius. He knows how to get the best out of those players, uh, and ultimately, your your coaching staff, your management staff will dictate how good your team are, not how good the players are, because the players will be a product of your staff. You'll get your geniuses and you'll get your you know, but if you want a team of world beaters, you have to put a world beating staff together and get the right people in the room, as I always say. And you look at Bath men's team, like they recruited about 4 years ago. They recruited the the Red Roses head of strength and conditioning, Alex Martin, and his assistant, Harry Stevens. Now, we'd picked those up from Leicester. They just well, Alex had left Leicester. Alex took us to another level. Uh, Unbelievable, one of the best practitioners I've ever worked with. Uh, Bath picked him up. They picked Lee Blackett up. They picked Blazy up from Wasps, who'd also been with. They just got the right people,
Yeah.
uh, and you watch what happened to them. It's just been, and then they've gone like that. So that's just one of my strongest beliefs is that you have to have the right people in the room, and certainly in terms of when I coached England, my number one priority was to get the very best staff I could get in every position. Uh, we did a pretty good job with it, and it was great because what we actually saw was that those staff continued to grow. I had Matt Ferguson, who then went on to be scrum coach at Northampton. I had a great career. I was had a great career at Northampton. As I say, Blaze has gone on to Bath, and Louis Deacon will go on to uh, fantastic things because he's an outstanding coach, and yeah, and that's and again that's been really, and you see it in the women's game now because like the women's game certainly used to be, and rightly so, seen as a stepping stone for male coaches who couldn't get gigs in the Premiership. Uh, and but for me that was fine as it was. That gave me access to some. It gave me a real bit of leverage to go. Listen, come in, do 3 years with us. You know, Matt Ferguson's just gone from here to Northampton. Blaze has gone from here to Wasps, as has our strength and condition, which they did before they went to Bath. And that gives you really good leverage to get coaching. But now they just see it as a great coaching position as well. So you got Wayne Smith who picks the baton up for the Black Ferns and does that job. John Mitchell's just done it, obviously, for England. There's a lot of real high profile ex-players and coaches who are now moving into the women's game because they see it as a really great coaching challenge. And a great coaching opportunity. So it's again, I keep using the phrase self-perpetuating, but that's how it works.
That's one thing that I definitely have heard from Harlequins is that Ferguson's just come in
Yeah.
with us, and I can't remember his official job title, but he's going to be taking charge of the Prem Cup campaign,
Right, yeah.
and has started. And from what I've heard from fans who are closer to the club than I am, or more in the know, or of everything that I've heard, is that he's just been a wonderful addition to the club. Because I think there's one thing, like you talking about the coaching team that you have and the atmosphere that you have, that, not to shit on Harlequins, that's not the point of this, but it's one thing that they've really struggled with since
Mhm.
2021. Like they haven't got all of the right coaches in at the right time, whether or not they are excellent coaches or not. It just hasn't worked. So I think that's really that's great to hear from a coach of a caliber of yourself to say that you can have a world class team of players, but you have to have a world class team of coaches. Otherwise, you're not going to have a world class team.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you got a great one in Fergie. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah. We actually had the best lineup we've ever had under Fergie. When you think, because he ended up being scrum coach for
yeah.
Northampton, but we've had some unbelievable forwards coaches who specialise in lineout. Richard Blaze, Lewis Deacon. Fergie built the best lineout we've ever had. He was unbelievable.
Maybe
Yeah.
we should get him on lineouts at Quins then, because they're not the best. They're not the as a former hooker back rower, I look at some of them and I think, not great. Someone's not called that, right?
No, he's great coach Fergie, and a great person as well. Well, they all are, all them people I've just mentioned.
I think now is the best time to get to know Simon behind, like away from coaching. So, what would be your favourite film?
My favorite film. Oh,
Yeah.
uh, I've got three films that I watch every week over and over. JFK. I watch it every night. I watch part of it every night. Puts me to sleep.
Ooh,
But is it like JFK? I mean, Moneyball's a great. I watched Moneyball this morning at 5 o'clock before I got up. Moneyball. There's a film called Kingdom of Heaven, which I love. It's a great film.
I've just watched that recently. It's the Ridley Scott one, isn't it? About Jerusalem and all of that kind of
Yeah, the
place.
Crusades and whatnot. Yeah,
Yeah, Orlando Bloom and Ian
yeah,
Green and everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mississippi Burning. I love Gene Hackman. Uh,
great film.
you know,
Great film.
great film. So, uh, yeah, but I think if I had to pin one down, I'd say JFK. I like, yeah, really quite obsessed with the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
Everyone's
That's a
got
weird obsession, but that's fair.
everyone's got a niche. Everyone has a niche of something that they love.
Yeah.
So, if there was a film about the career of Simon Middleton, who would you want to play you, and what would the title of the film be called?
Well, it'd have to be Brad Pitt, wouldn't it?
Oh, obviously,
No.
obviously, yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
obviously.
completely.
this is oh, this is setting me up completely into this. This is like, because no matter what I say here, I'm going to get absolutely polarized about it.
No, no, not at
I
all.
mean, if anything, I want to hear Brad Pitt attempt a West Yorkshire accent. That's the thing that I'd most
Daniel
love to
Craig,
see.
Daniel Craig, because he's
I
so,
could, I could see that. I actually could really see that.
or Harrison Ford. I'm thinking like somewhere in that age bracket, something like that. So, what was the second part to it?
What would the title be of the film?
The
What would
title.
you what would you call the film about you?
Okay. The Verb once brought a song out called Lucky Man. I'll probably go for that.
I like that. I like
I
that.
mean,
That's
it
quite
sounds
good.
like that sounds like the Lucky Man. That sounds like a
Daniel
fun title.
Daniel Craig is the lucky man. The Simon Middleton story. There we go.
Simon Middleton MBE story.
MBE story. Yes. I can't believe we've done this whole interview and forgot he's got an MBE.
So I forget all the time. Do you want to see it? It's just here in my
Have you got it?
yeah.
That's brilliant. I've. Ooh, I'm trying to think. If you could have, if you could only pick one type of cuisine, so like Italian, French, English, American, Australian, like one type of cuisine, and you could only eat that for the rest of your life, what would it be?
The good old British curry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love a curry, but I love a roast. Uh,
Mm.
Ooh,
I'd, I'd go with curry. I'd go with a curry.
Yeah.
But having
Curry's the
said
most.
that, if I had to pick one dish, I'd go with a carbonara. But if it had to be a whole cuisine, I would
Okay.
go Indian. But I
That's
love a
fair.
carbonara.
Yeah, because there's more
Well,
variety in an Indian than there is a roast. You'd get fed up of a roast real quick.
Yeah, that's one thing.
well, no, you have chicken, you have beef, you have lamb, you have pork, you have turkey. You could have
Then you have chicken, you have
goose.
beef, you have
You, you,
Yeah,
you thought that's a lot deeper than I did. I thought roast was roast. I didn't.
yeah. Change up the veg every week. Like, oh, we'll have carrots this week, parsnips the next. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just
fair
thinking
enough.
on the I'm just thinking on the fly.
No, you're right.
I'm hungry now. I want my
You
dinner.
can kick it around a little bit. I've just had one for tea, actually. Lovely.
There we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Bit of pork, 3 or 4 different veg. Lovely.
There we go.
So you've just had a big win. You're out to celebrate. What's your go-to drink?
Beer.
Good lad. What? Any specific beer or just whatever's
Like
there?
that.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll drink it out of my cup.
That works.
Actually,
Oh,
I won't go for a Madre. I'd go for a. I'm not that picky actually. If it was there, I'd get whatever's coldest. But yeah,
Love that.
the best feeling in the world for me was having a beer in the changing rooms when we won. That was like
oh,
you cannot beat that.
that must be some feeling. That
See, I've had to change this the way I've questioned that for years now because it used to be big win. What are you drinking? And I never said you're a way out. And see some of the players that would, protein shake. I'm like, no, 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 no. We're celebrating. What are you drinking? And they're like, oh, I'm like, right, yeah. I'm gonna have to word that differently now.
then you get someone saying like something mad like a Dom Perignon or something.
Yeah, a glass of beer.
Oh, who was it? We had Sebastian Negri on, and I said, right, you're out on the town. And because he picked up on that bit, he was like, well, if I'm out on the town, I've already had some pre-drinks, so I'm on the double vodkas. I was like, oh my God, here we go. There's a sentence.
Oh, there we go.
What
Yeah,
is your go-to style of music, Simon?
Springsteen. It's my only
Oh,
style of music.
style classic. It's a
I
classic.
mean, you probably work out a bit of a creature of habit. So
That's fair.
It's a good habit to have. It's not like you
Yeah.
ever. I was about to suggest you're a fan of a bit of music that I would be disparaging of, but I'm not going to do that because everyone's got their own taste, and I don't want to get any heat myself.
no, I like I like a massive Queen fan. Where in the sort of 90s, 80s, 90s, whatnot. But Springsteen's been yeah, he's been my go-to since as long as I can remember, since I was about 16. Yeah.
You and Gary Neville would really get on then.
Ah.
What an image that would be if that dropped on Instagram. You and Gary Neville with Bruce Springsteen
Can you
watching a
imagine?
concert. I think that would be a brilliant image
Yeah.
when worlds collide. Three very different worlds.
But it's funny,
Yeah.
you always think that you're like, what's the best money you've ever spent in your life? As it
Well, that's
was,
one of Murray's questions, actually.
well, it's a ticket to
I think
see.
it's going to be, yeah.
It's a ticket. I've been to I've been 7 or 8 times to see him, and it's just like, yeah, it's incredible. It's like you got no matter how much the ticket costs, it's worth it. Yeah,
You can't put, yeah, it's like a price and experience. Like anyone who probably would have been, like any England fan who would have been to like Twickenham this year, or the Allianz Twickenham this year to see the ladies do it. Like even if I don't know how much the tickets were, but even if somebody paid like £500 for 5 tickets, I think they'd be like, I've just seen England win the World Cup.
yeah,
Does not matter.
yeah, yeah.
Does
Yeah.
not matter.
I didn't actually see England win the World Cup. I got married instead. It was on my wedding day. That was poorly planned. We were meant to get married last year, and because we had our youngest, we're like, wait, we'll move everything back a year. I didn't think about it until I think like every team was qualifying. Like, right, here's the fixtures and final 27th of September. I was like, oh,
You didn't have to
oh,
worry about Scotland being in it, though, did you?
wow. No, I wasn't expecting Scotland in it. In fairness, although we got to the,
Oh,
we got to the quarters before.
No, they did all right. They did all right.
Before you broke our hearts.
Oh, brilliant.
Uh, well, the men's have done it often enough to us, so it's nice to get a bit of
That's fair.
retribution.
That's fair.
Oh, I was so happy when we won that Calcutta Cup back this year. Oh my days, I couldn't cope.
That just took a weird turn. I don't like it now.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I love Scotland. I think Scotland's brilliant.
Just
I,
keep it warm for us. Just keep it warm for us till February.
uh,
It's in Murrayfield. Um, Final question. Well, unless Harry's got any more.
None spring to mind right now.
No,
It
thank
might
you.
happen in like a minute or two.
Um, I always like to finish an interview on this. What's the best way you'd want to be remembered in life, not just as a rugby coach?
Someone like just someone who's like good to have a conversation with and didn't take himself too seriously. I think,
Mm.
you know, I think that's the best cue. If you're talking genetic, I mean, like more than anything, you want to be the best parent you can be. I think ultimately, but yeah, if for people who've known me, to go, yeah, he was all right. He didn't take himself too seriously. I like to laugh, like to beer, uh,
Mm.
like to loved his sport. Yeah, that. Yeah, just an ordinary bloke, which I most definitely am.
That just to me, that just sounds like a very sort of almost like a very stereotypical humble Northern man answer. But I love it. It's
It's,
brilliant.
isn't it? I know. I'm just ordinary with my MBE and my 5 Grand Slams. Standard, you know.
Believe me, I'm still amazed I've got all that.
Well, you've
Yeah.
deserved every bit of it, and yeah, the book's shut. You've absolutely smashed it, Simon. I can't thank you enough for agreeing to come on.
Oh, absolute pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. It's been great to meet both of you. And yeah, good luck with the marriage. Good luck with the acting.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're ever up in Scotland, if you fancy a Madry or a colder beer, I'm your guy. If you're ever down London way, maybe Harry can sort you out with the West End tickets.
I will
I've got enough friends and enough shows to be able to find something.
There you go.
I could drum something up.
sounds good to me. I will definitely keep those invitations in mind, fellas. And if you pass in the north, give me a shout.
Well,
You in the
I'll definitely
middle.
keep that in mind as well.
I do have family like near Barnsley. So if I'm ever up there, I'll be like, Simon, do you
It's
fancy a
kind of like,
Madry?
Sounds good.
I mean, it is like, I mean, it's like halfway for me and Harry anyway, so we may as well all just pile in together in the north. There we go.
Night out in Leeds or York?
York, what a place.
Yeah,
Favorite
yeah.
city. Favorite
Oh,
city.
York, brilliant city. I've not been for a long time, but
Amazing.
lovely, lovely city.
Beautiful place. Beautiful
So
place.
settled then. We'll see you in the summer in York.
Sounds like a
We'll,
plan.
we'll get on the Madry or something colder. Who knows? Maybe Peroni or Asahi is colder on the day.
Yeah, or a Cobra over a curry. Fantastic.
Oh, you
Oh,
know what? No, I'm sold. It's a Cobra over a curry
yeah,
in York.
that's it. I'm sold. I'm gonna look at hotels now.
Get me a chicken madras and a Cobra in York. There we go.
Happy
Nailed it.
days. Oh, I don't think there's a better way to sign off there, but
Not
this
at
has been
all.
this has been the Rugby Connection podcast with the great Simon Middleton. And until next time, have a good one.
Cheers, guys.